Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. Despite this famous tagline, we are seeing aggression on LAC. This is happening for the first time after 1977. What is the reason behind this? What is the reason behind the recent skirmishes in Galwan Valley? Is there much more than what meets the eye? Is it because India has become a prominent nuclear nation? Or is it because India is reclaiming its land to carry out infrastructural activities? To understand more on this, a seminar was organized on Tuesday, 3rd March 2020 on India-China relations in 21st century, challenges and opportunity. It was organized by Center for Advanced Strategic Studies, Center for China Analysis and Strategy, in association with India Council of World Affairs and Maharashtra Education Society, Pune. This seminar was also organized to commemorate the 160th year of Maharashtra Education Society. It was held at MES Auditorium, Pune. Shri Sudhir Devre, former Foreign Secretary of India, spoke about India-China relationship during the seminar.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I must say, even at this late hour, we have the full gathering, and that is very encouraging. I would like to thank Air Marshal Bhushan Gokhale and his colleagues, Mr. Sahasrabuddhe and others, to have invited me to this very important and interesting event that MES has organized it today. Well, much has been discussed with respect to India-China relations since this morning. And as we all know, China looms very large on our consciousness. Be it the Ganpaticha Murti kiंवा Diwaliचे दिवे, to the issues in Kashmir, on Kashmir in the United Nations, I think whether it is internal or external relations of India, I think China seems to have something to do with it. And as Mr. Vijay Gokhale, who retired as Foreign Secretary only recently, laid out very brilliantly in his wide canvas of the India-China relations, he also gave a roadmap for the kind of relationship that India and China should have. We all find that there are so many issues between India and China, and also in the context of the global situation, that India-China relations has become the major component, or rather the principal challenge of India's foreign policy. And that will remain so for, I think, foreseeable period. In a short period, I would say only in the last 15 to 20 years, China has managed to create, or rather catapult itself at the front line of the global powers. This was not the situation as late as 2000. And that has created enormous asymmetry between China on one hand, in most countries of the world, between India and China. China has now aspirations to be sitting along only with the United States. And though G2 has not been formalized, in many ways, China believes it is already in that position. Number of issues and number of areas of our mutual interests were discussed in the course of the day. BRI was discussed, the naval aspect, the underwater domain possibilities were discussed. Then the vulnerabilities of China were discussed, the Hong Kong, other issue. Of course, economics and the trade was also deliberated at length. I just would like to mention 2-3 points currently which are before us. The Taliban-US deal, which was signed on the 29th. China's name doesn't feature there, but China is very much behind it. I think the nexus between US, Pakistan, between Taliban, Pakistan and China, that will emerge as a result of the new dispensation will be certainly of much consequence for us. The newspaper also reported that during this week there will be now discussions in the UN Security Council, because China is going to be the chairman of the Security Council for this month. They have already brought up the abrogation of Article 370 question before the United Nations Security Council twice, and they are very likely to bring it again before the United Nations during this month. And that will obviously call for intensive canvassing by our diplomats in the United Nations as well as by the Ministry of External Affairs in other capitals. So we have a major challenge from China. Of course, at the highest level, we have had dialogue between our Prime Minister and President Xi Jinping twice in the last 3 years at Wuhan as well as Mallapuram. And a very wide agenda has been before us, has been discussed. Clearly, there is a good personal understanding and chemistry between the two leaders. They have been meeting very regularly. On one hand, economically, technologically, militarily, China is way, way ahead of us now. This is a reality which we don't particularly like to acknowledge, but it is a reality. There are at the same time a number of areas, and as General Bakshi very vividly brought out, first of all, he asked the question whether Beijing really authorized this, and secondly, he discussed the ground situation there. And I would like to mention that from my own recollection and experience going back to the early 70s, India's position, military position in that area has always been fairly strong. And I wonder whether the Chinese did not take that into account or they had some other calculations in mind. Between Sikkim, Bhutan and the Chumbi Valley, we have always held fairly credible military positions. India's position, India's growing strength, naval strength in the Indian Ocean has also been noticed by the Chinese, and they also, I think, are concerned about that. So it is not that it is all one-way street. It is that it is not that as if in every area India is way, way behind. Of course, we have to go a long way. In a situation like this, one always wonders, how does China look at us today? I mean, when you are negotiating with Chinese, how do they perceive us? It is very important in any act of diplomacy. Perhaps it will be debatable to think or to say whether if the Chinese take us seriously at all or not. In Southeast Asia, I have often seen that again in last just 10-15 years, the position of China and India have undergone a sea change. A recent survey brought out by the redoubtable Institute of Southeast Asian Studies in Singapore shows that on some 15-20 areas, parameters, China ranks almost number one. And today China is regarded in this region of Indo-Pacific as the most significant military, economic and technological power. And India, unfortunately, ranks at the lowest position. After the withdrawal of India from the RCEP, I'm not sure how our commercial and economic ranking in this region will now be regarded. Perhaps our not signing this might be seen by the Chinese as a great help to them. And that also will have eventually impact on India's overall standing in this region. So we'll have to take a very objective, dispassionate view of our relationship with China. we should be also mindful of the limitations and the vulnerabilities the Chinese have. Are the Chinese indeed invincible? That is a question which should, I think, also be asked by us, because as was brought out in Xinjiang or in Tibet and recently in the developments in Hong Kong or Taiwan, there is opposition to China. How long the Chinese Communist Party will be able to hold their sway the way have they done all these years? One area in which we have also deep interest is the South China Sea. And the South China Sea dispute, which has been going on for nearly a decade or more, the Chinese were trying to push their way over the 5 claimants, and some of these claimants have also now decided to stand up. The Indonesians have taken a position when there was transgression by the Chinese fishing boats and Chinese trawlers, that these waters belong to the Indonesian economic zone, and they send their fighter jets and naval craft. This is being regarded as a kind of a turning point in the South China Sea issue. Perhaps we may be reading too much into this. The Chinese are not going to give up, but it is not that simple for the Chinese in many areas, including South China Sea. And the position which India took in the form of the speech by our Prime Minister at the Shangri-La Dialogue about a year and a half ago, that when he talked of the inclusiveness of the whole Indo-Pacific, has put the whole Indian approach in a very good and kind of a very assuring perspective. So we have, as I said, there are clear indications of the Chinese rise, Chinese very formidable position. At the same time, China's vulnerabilities, China's weaknesses, in which India has to keep moving on. India has its own principles, its policies, and as Mr. Gokhale said in the morning, India's democracy, I think, is probably seen as an existential threat or existential challenge by the Chinese, and I think there lies one of the greatest advantages that India has. Well, I think we can go on discussing India-China relations for years to come. There will be new dimensions of that, and we need to have more and more scholarship on this subject. The institutions like Mr. Jayadev Ranade's Center or the Indian Council of World Affairs, and I hope there will be institutions in Pune itself which will be focusing on China studies. I think that is an absolute important need for all of us, and with that I think we'll be able to have clearer and more objective understanding of China. Thank you very much.